Good morning. Okay. I'm Laura Caputo. I'm a member of your parish board. So welcome everyone to First Church. We are a seeking church, a transforming church, a welcoming church. We are a community of action, seeking to help this world grow more loving and just. We are a community of care, holding one another, showing up for one another and our wider world, especially now. It is good to be together. We are so glad that you are here. And a few announcements before we get going. These summer services have been wonderful. We are so grateful for Gabrielle Stahlberg for providing our music leadership again this summer and for all our wonderful worship leaders. Next week, we will have Matt Meyer from Sanctuary Boston. Matt is a wonderful musician and preacher and a mainstay of our summer services here at First Church. Do try to make it. And this week, we are grateful for Ran Courant-Morgan sharing a worship with us. In addition to being a dog trainer and a cherished member of this community, Ran also serves as the administrator of our UU Church in Malden. Lastly, there are so many ways to connect and serve here at First Church if you are hungry for more connection. Looking for ways to deepen into this wonderful community, please don't hesitate to sign up for some time with either of our ministers. Reverends Chris and Martha are both back and loving to meet with folks. They can easily help you get connected to programs and groups here at the church. And so much more. Be sure to check out our website or weekly newsletter, The Unitarian, for more information. And always feel free to ask anyone questions. For now, let's take a deepening breath and arrive in this beautiful place, surrounded by this abundant love. Come, let us worship together.
So we invite you to rise in body, rise in spirit, and wanted to just thank both Nina Grimaldi and ML Landfried, who are sharing music with us today, longtime members and super generous with their musical gifts. So thank you both very much.
long discussion about how short I am. Please join me in saying the chalice lighting words. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
Little Dog's Rhapsody in the Night by Mary Oliver from Dog Songs. You're going to love this. He puts his cheek against mine and makes small, expressive sounds. And when I'm awake, or awake enough, he turns upside down, his 4 paws in the air, and his eyes dark and fervent. Tell me you love me, he says. Tell me again. Could there be a sweeter arrangement? Over and over, he gets to ask. I get to tell.
This is the time in our service where we invite forward an offering to help support the good work of the church and our partners in the wider world. This month, all month, we'll be sharing our offering with the Partner Church program, an incredible partnership we've had with our partner church over in Deshvalva in Transylvania for decades. This work supports both need there, but also our ongoing travel and work together. So we are deeply grateful for all you're about to give.
This reading is a poem called The Facts of Life. That you were born, and you will die. That you will sometimes love enough and sometimes not. That you will lie, if only to yourself. That you will get tired. That you will learn most from the situations you did not choose. That there will be some things that move you more than you can say. That you will live, that you must be loved. That you will avoid questions most urgently in need of your attention. That you began as the fusion of a sperm and an egg of two people who were once strangers and may well still be. That life isn't fair. That life is sometimes good and sometimes even better than good. That life is often not so good. That life is real. And if you can survive it, well, survive it well, with love and art and meaning given where meaning's scarce. That you will learn to live with regret. That you will learn to live with respect. That the structures that constrict you may not be permanently constricting. That you will probably be okay. That you must accept change before you die, but you will die anyway. So you might as well live, and you might as well love, you might as well love, you might as well love.
So this is the time in our service where we invite you forward to share a personal joy, a personal sorrow, anything on your heart that you'd like to have shared in community. You can go anytime to the silent candles there in the back. But if you'd like to share now with everybody, we invite you forward. We're going to ask you to use the microphone so folks can hear you, and that you focus your thoughts and be briefish. This is one of the most beautiful things we do, listening to one another like this, holding one another like this. So if you'd like to share, please come forward.
It was April of 2019, and I had a list. My wife had finally agreed that we could get a puppy. My criteria were relatively brief. The dog should like food, be interested in training, and needed to be neutral with cats. I wanted a companion who would accompany me on my spontaneous adventures through the forests of Massachusetts. She doesn't need to be an agility dog, I told people who asked, just a brewery dog. I found her picture on the shelter website on a Friday afternoon. I rode my bike to the shelter, and still in my neon jacket, I met a floppy-eared, brindle-colored puppy who bounced around the room and peed on the floor only once while we waited for my wife to arrive and give the okay. Dulcia named the puppy Beacon, not after the streets of Boston, as people often ask, but because this puppy would be the light that guided my life. And she was. My life revolved around this creature who, it seemed, did not rest. We went for hikes, neighborhood walks, visits to the brewery. We went to puppy classes and more hikes and practiced a litany of adorable and ridiculous tricks. I did not write this in here, but she can play the recorder. When the COVID lockdown hit, we went for long midday adventures, discovering pockets of forest within walking distance of home. We would walk out the front door, and I would wait to see where Beacon wanted to go. Was today the day we would turn left and head down to the secret path with the mud pit tucked between the trees, or take a right to the rocky trail overlooking the wetland? Every walk, I was tickled to watch her decisiveness as she selected the route for the day, then picked the precise spot to cross the streets, which always seemed very intentional for her and completely arbitrary to me. Beacon was down for training, loved food, ignored the cats, but she did not rest. She would go, go, go until she crashed. Then she would sleep hard, wake up, and do it again. On weekends at our family's place in New Hampshire, she would walk and run for 20 miles a day, just in the space around the cabin. It was around a year into her life that I realized that Beacon was actually not okay. Her going until she crashed was not a personality trait. It was a symptom of underlying pain. She was too uncomfortable to rest, so she just kept moving until she was too tired and had to stop. The next several years were full of veterinary visits, tests, various pain medications, more questions than answers. Beacon is sensitive about her body. She does not want to sit close. She does not want to snuggle. And she only enjoys being touched briefly and under very specific conditions. Wearing a harness is intolerable. With her current medications, she's able to rest now. She sleeps regularly and comfortably, but when she's up and moving around, it is slow, deliberate. She's certainly not an agility dog, and she's no longer a brewery dog, but she still loves a good treat, and she's game to travel. My dad has always enthusiastically supported my love of dogs. There's not a lot that my dad and I were able to talk to each other about, but there was always something to say about our dogs. So when my dad moved from Florida to Pennsylvania to be closer to my sister, I was eager to introduce him to Beacon. His birthday was the perfect excuse, and I loaded Beacon into the car and drove down to Philadelphia for just a quick 24-hour visit. My dad and I wandered the neighborhoods of Philadelphia with our respective dogs trotting happily alongside each other. When we returned to his apartment, much to my father's dismay, Beacon settled herself comfortably on his couch. "Dogs aren't allowed on the furniture," he grumbled. "This one is," I said, cheerfully bracing against his irritation with excess cheer. He muttered something, and then we had cake, and I took Beacon, and we went home. Exactly 2 years later, my dad was diagnosed with ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. This kicked off a year of my driving down to Pennsylvania every month or two for various appointments and to support my dad and my sister. I went down by myself for just 48 hours so I could go with them to the first day-long ALS clinic. When my dad could no longer safely use stairs, I packed Beacon into the car and we visited for nearly a month to help move him from his 3-story condo into a single-story apartment. Beacon and I stayed at my sister's house, and we made day trips to his new apartment where Beacon would settle herself on that same couch while I emptied boxes, brought in the mail, asked if he needed help. He was reluctant. My dad was fiercely independent, and he resisted our attempts to change things for him. He insisted that he could still ride his stationary bike, even as his muscles wasted and he struggled to stand. He continued to bake his own bread, balancing the heavy metal dish precariously with one arm while he held himself up with the other until he could no longer eat solid food. Every visit, Beacon would prance into his apartment, wag her tail, and briefly sniff around, and he would reach out and ruffle the fur between her ears. She did not love it, but she didn't move away either. Just a few months into his diagnosis, my dad was no longer able to speak, but he would still smile, pet the dog, and extend his arms to me for a hug. One morning, I left my sister's house. I left Beacon at my sister's house and went to see my dad. He thrust a small notepad at me. There were several words scrawled on it, which I studied and eventually understood to say, "Take me to BJ's." I'd never been to a BJ's wholesale food store before, and I had not yet taken my dad shopping since he started relying on a wheelchair. I did not know what I was getting into. But we got him in the car. I followed his gestured directions to the store. He knew what he wanted, but he had not brought a list, and so I had no idea what we were there for. I began to push him slowly across the cement floor. I watched his head, supported by a foam neck brace, tilt as he angled to watch the aisles we passed. I listened to my breath, focusing on taking slow, patient steps. I found myself remembering the many trips through airports as a kid with my dad, his long steps carrying him far ahead of my sister and me, stabbing shin splints blooming on my legs as I struggled to catch up. Now, I pushed him in the chair. 1 step, 2 steps, slowly, slowly. He did not gesture, but his head turned slightly, a longer gaze this time, so I turned down the aisle he was looking at. I watched to see what caught his eye, where he seemed to be looking more closely, and slowed down more. Eventually, he would point at something, and I would take the item off the shelf. "This?" I would ask, and he would nod or shake his head, and I would hand him the item or pick up and offer something else. At the end of each aisle, I found myself pausing and asking, "Which way?" In response, he would lift a hand, a curled finger, and tap the air. There was something familiar about these words and this process, something I recognized. That afternoon, I dropped my dad off at home. I helped him out of the car and into his wheelchair, then maneuvered the chair up the path to his apartment. I brought his things in and arranged them on the counter so he could put them away exactly the way he wanted to. Then I went back to my sister's house to take Beacon for a walk. She wore a long leash, and I let the length of it in and out as she walked down to sniff and pee on things, and then sped up to trot in front of me. When we got to a turn in the road, I slowed, watching her. She stopped and glanced back at me. "Which way?" I asked. "Which way?" Ah, that's why this was familiar. It's something I ask my dog every single day on every walk we take together. I suppose some people, upon making the connection between asking the exact same question of their dog and their father, might be embarrassed or frustrated to realize that they were perhaps treating their father the way they treated their dog. But what struck me instead was a sense of gratitude. Without this dog and her specific ways of being in the world, would I have been able to slow down, to watch my father, to listen to him when he could no longer speak? The dog I share my life with is not necessarily the dog I would have chosen if I knew then everything I know about her now. I would have wanted a dog who played more, who was affectionate, who wanted to meet people. I would have chosen a dog who would walk into my father's house and rest her head on his knee. Instead, I got a dog who is aloof, suspicious, reluctant to be touched. She doesn't enjoy petting. She doesn't enjoy playing. And so my job is to figure out, where can I let her be a dog? I have found that I can do it by offering her choice, letting her choose where we go, when we slow down and speed up, whether we're headed for a field or trees. Giving her these options and following her lead has created, for me, a practice of offering choice. Beacon, as you may have picked up by now, is not overtly affectionate. If I sit too close to her on the couch, she will look at me with severe side eye, and then she'll slide off the couch and lie down somewhere else. In the words of her vet, Beacon is private about her body. But because of this, I find other ways to recognize her love for me. Sometimes I'm sitting on the couch and she eases into the spot next to me, falling asleep with her back gently, very slightly, touching my leg. When she's excited to see me, she runs in giant, very slow laps just out of arm's reach. When we're hiking in the woods and I call her, she comes tearing over to me as fast as a large, slow dog can, and she looks up at me with her eyes shining, ready for whatever comes next. I did not think to myself, how can I give my dad choice like I give to Beacon? It just came out. When interacting with someone I loved who could not speak, I looked for ways to follow his lead. In learning to watch Beacon and listen to her, to recognize who she is more important than my expectations and hopes for who I wanted her to be. I'm realizing that these lessons are likely true with people too. In her poem, Little Dog's Rhapsody in the Night, Mary Oliver's dog Percy says, "Tell me you love me, tell me again." And Oliver writes, could there be a sweeter arrangement? Over and over, he gets to ask, I get to tell. We do not get to pick the specific ways that our dogs ask for our love. Your dog might want to curl up under the covers with you or bring you a toy for you to try to steal from his mouth. Someone else's dog might want to go for a run together or play a game we professionals officially call bitey face. My dog wants my company. What a gift it is, this opportunity to get to know our dogs, to watch them closely and learn who they are and what they most need from us. Over and over to show them, to tell them in the ways that we can, how much we love them. And then, what another gift upon that one, to be able to take the things they have shown us and to love our people even better than before. Thank you.
Now we'll invite you to rise in body, rise in spirit, and join in our last hymn, number 203, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky, in the gray hymnal.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. These we carry out into the world as our blessing, as our gift. May you know a dog who surprises you. May you learn from the situations you did not choose. May you love a dog and find yourself a little bit kinder than before. And may you have the opportunity to tell someone over and over that you love them.